Hey everyone, Jeff Chandler here with Seven Peaks Fence and Barn, your expert in horse and livestock fencing. And today we have a great video. It is called How to Tie and Stretch Fence Wire that we're going to react to. And we're going to see how they do it. And we're going to jump on into this. So this video is by Jerry Mathis, okay? And so let's see what he has to say. But if you do want to watch this video without all my input, we will have a link in the description that you guys can go check out and check out his channel. But let's see how they tie and stretch this fence wire in this video. Here we go.
What's up, guys? Nomad here. I'm with my boy Jerry. We're here on the ranch.
What's up, guys?
We've got the fence welded up here, as you can see. I got it all cut. Jerry got it all welded up. We've got it laid out. And then we've got our wire laid out here, and Jerry's going to go over the basics of what we're about to do here.
So the concept really is you got these ties, get it close up here. You got these ties around each one of these right here like this. What we're looking for is we need to clip these off 6 down and all the way across. That way we get just this the run sticking out.
So we can wrap them around this pole and
pull
it
wrap
tight.
Around the pole. So I'll show you exactly.
So right here, what they're talking about is basically starting at the very beginning. So you got your zero mark, your starting post, okay? This is how you're gonna tie it off to start off. And really you want this to be tied off the best, because this is where all that pressure is gonna be when you're stretching that wire. So here what he's talking about is you're going to be cutting each one of these strands all the way down so that you leave the horizontal wires there, and that's going to be what you're going to be tying off to that post with. He's talking about going down 6 of those 2x4 squares down, so you have plenty of length to tie it, to wrap around your 2 3/8 or 2 7/8, whatever size post you have. And so let's jump in and see how they did it. But they did a great job. Their top rail and their posts look really good. So let's see how they tie this. Let's check it out.
Exactly how to clip them off.
As you can see, we have the wire. We got 200-foot wire laid out here all the way to the end down there.
But you see, you want to get your snips, and what you want to do is you want to stick it right in the corner. But you have to be careful because you cannot cut this. This is what we use to tie around the pole. So you get it, you snip it, just like that, bam, all the way up.
So you can see right here, this is where he's snipping it all the way up. Now, you got to be careful because right here you don't want to snip the wire that you're going to be using to tie off. So I always cut in between basically each of those 2x4 squares, not on the actual horizontal wire right there where those knots are. And there is a lot of different types of no climb wire, which is what they're using today, or horse fence. And so there are different ties and things which he's clipping on right now that make it maybe a little bit harder to pull off. And so I've used quite a few different kinds, and so maybe that's why he's cutting this way. But I've always found by just cutting through in the middle of those up and down wires and kind of twisting them off, it came off really, really easy. So that's what I always did. But let's continue to watch. Again, they said that this was a 200-foot roll, so there are different lengths for no climb as well. So let's check out and see how they tie this as we continue this video.
It's not as easy as you would think either. Just like that. That's what you're looking for. See that right there? This right here is what you wrap around the pole.
And we'll do that all the way across 6
You would wrap it around the pole and then you would tie it to itself, but we'll get to that later. All right, guys, we got all the ties clipped off, and this is the end result of what we're looking for right here. See how they're sticking up like that? Because it did look like that, but we clipped them off to look like this. And this is what we wrap around the pole. So,
all right, guys. So yeah, we've got those cut now, and we want to pull the wire over to the base of the fence poles, like so, like Jerry's doing here.
You have to do it all the way down. And the reason we're doing this is because we got to tie this bottom wire around the pole over there where you start. And then we got to stand it up. And we'll get to that here in a moment.
So he was just talking about that bottom wire there, and that bottom wire and the top wire are going to be a thicker wire on this no-climb fencing. Obviously, every different manufacturer is going to be a little different, but you can even see it in the beginning. There's a red wire. This is probably a red brand, and top and bottom wire are going to be thicker. The middle wires aren't going to be as thick, but they're going to be pulling it all close to the post so they can pull it up and strip. And he's talking about starting with tying it on the bottom. So let's see how they finish it off as they tie it off and they stretch it. Curious to see how they do it.
All right, we've got it pulled to the fence base. Jerry is wrapping the bottom wrap.
And why I'm wrapping this bottom wrap is because we have to get it tied here. That way it'll stay close to the fence. And then we're going to pull the whole fence up. And I'll show you once we get there.
So we got a few ties holding it up loosely. That way we can dig out the bottom here with a pickaxe to get it fitting even along the bottom. And then we can tie the first runs around that pole.
He just made, a good point. He's pulling it up and as they stand it up, they're going to have a pickaxe at the bottom of basically the whole run. And that's due to uneven ground. There might be some dips and things to make it where it's not all even. Because really you want that wire to be right at that top rail there. And then if it's not all dug out and evenly 5 feet, you're going to have some issues there. So they're going to be digging that out to make it, nice and clean finish. So let's continue watching.
All right, guys. So we had the fence put up against the post loosely, so it hangs, and we can then tie these up on the end post here tightly, like Jerry's doing now. And how it works, we wrap these around here and put them under, and then Jerry wraps them like so.
All right, so as you can see there, this is exactly how you tie no-climb wire. This is how I've tied tons and tons of no-climb. Each one of those wires, you're going to wrap around 2 3/8 post or whatever post you're using. You're going to pull them underneath the horizontal rail itself, and you're going to come around, and you can see they wrap it 2 to 3 times and snip it and roll it over so that it's not poking out and for the chance to injure any person or animal. So it looks really good right there. They're doing exactly how I would do it. Let's continue.
I'm going to pull them up and over, and then he's going to tie them up tight. We've got most of them done here.
Let me see it real quick.
I would say after doing a lot of no-climb wire, this isn't the funnest thing to do. It is difficult. It'll hurt your hands if you're doing it a bunch of time, but it is doable. They seem to be doing a really good job. They do actually have a tool that you can use to kind of wrap that wire around. I've used a bunch of them. I haven't found a really good one, so I've always just used these wire cutters with some pliers on it that kind of have both. Sometimes you need needle nose, but these ones he's using work really well, especially when you're gripping it and rolling it over at the end. So let's keep watching.
But the trick is, you want to keep this right here straight as you can possibly down the pole. You know, the wires, some wires are just bent like this right here, but you want to keep it straight down the pole. That way when you stretch it, all the squares, they'll be perfectly straight all the way down.
See, and then from here we'll move down to that end, guys, and we'll pull tight. We'll get down there in a moment and show you, and then that will pull this end tight. All right, guys, so we got these up and straight here, tied tight. We're going to move on down to that end and use our
So they just made a good note again on making sure that that wire going up and down is straight. Okay, if you don't do that and it's crooked, so you tie it crooked, well, the rest of your fence is going to come off crooked. So you want to make sure that's straight with your post so that it continues to stay straight all the way towards the end. So they're doing a great job. Really impressed at how they're doing it. They seem to work really well together. It's not always easy to find. So great work, guys. Let's continue watching.
come alongs to pull the fence tight.
But as we go down, we're going to tie it up loosely as we did here. So the whole fence will be standing up, and then we're going to get our come-alongs down there, and we're going to hook them up and stretch, and we'll get to that, and we'll show you.
Yeah, here we are at the other end of the fence, guys.
We had to clip off at least 3 of these to get some of these to stick out. You know how we did it down there, same kind of thing. But what we're going to do now is we're going to hook the come-alongs up to right here to stretch it to that pole there. And
that way we can pull it tight and get the fence tight.
And we'll show you that here in a moment. Let us get it set up, and we'll get back to you. All right, so what we're doing is we got our come-alongs up. We stretched. We got the top and the bottom. You have to do the top and the bottom. That way you can get them even on the pole. The whole thing is.
All right, so you can see right here, they're using a come-along on the top and the bottom wire to pull it tight. So I've never particularly done it in that way. They do have some tools that you can use to hook onto the wire further in to pull it. You can even use some 2x4s to kind of sandwich the wire, put some bolts through it, tighten it up, and hook a come-along to it. We even built our own custom one out of metal that we used a lot. So there's a few different things you can use to pull this tight. But this should work. So the biggest thing, you want to just pull it evenly and get that really nice and tight, because you're 400 feet long. You really got to get that tight so that at the beginning and all throughout the fence it's not loose. So let's see how it turns out. Let's keep going.
Is you want the top to be right here in the center, and you want the bottom to be right there in the center. And as I'm clipping these back right here, these are the ones that were like I'm clipping 6 back all the way down. And these ones here are going to be the ones that we tie around the pole once we stretch it. And I'll show you that in a minute, because we got to hook the third come-along up to stretch it.
And get it pulled tight.
Get it pulled tight. As you're cutting these, you have to get right in the center, like right in the corner. And be sure not to cut this right here, because if you cut that right there, that's going to screw your whole pull up.
So, really important thing, they are pulling the top and bottom tight, which is great, and they're cutting the middle wires so that they can wrap it around. It does sound like they even put a third come along. I haven't seen it yet, to pull that middle tight. So it should turn out really nice.
You're not going to have anything to wrap around the pole, so you have to be very careful. And it's not as easy as it looks.
if you haven't noticed, you're going to be doing lots of snipping when you're tying this no climb or horse fence wire. So just be prepared for that. So have lots of wire cutters and pliers and things, because you're going to be doing lots of cutting.
All right, guys. This is the end result. After we got the come-alongs and everything, we had them tightened. We clipped all those out, these right here, and then we wrapped and we tied them. But what you do is you have to have a come-along. You got 3 come-alongs, one at the top, one at the bottom. They stay there, stretch. And then you got your third one. And that third one is you grab it, you pull right here, and then you'll be able to tie this one. And then you drop it, you come along it, and you'll be able to tie that one. You just got to keep dropping it one at a time, and it straightens. And it just keeps the fence perfectly straight, like this, like right here.
And then
So it sounds like they just kept dropping that come along and kept pulling to make that straight line on this side as well. It turned out really nice. They did a great job. Let's see how they finish it off. I also noticed this isn't the end of the fence, so they had to run that 200 feet, which, you know, that's all they had. 200 feet, I think, is the longest no climb you can get. There's 100-foot and 200-foot lengths. So your 2 options is to end at a post just like they did, and then connect the next wire roll to that post as well and run it. Or you can kind of, what's the word for it? You can basically tie them together. But it always isn't, you know, the strongest. This is probably going to be your strongest method to tie off to a post and then start the wire on that same post and continue. But they did a great job. Let's finish it off and see how it turned out.
we pulled it tight.
That's the end result right here.
We have them all along the top pulled tight. And then the last part will be we'll go through and we'll pull them tight along here, pull a tie around it. And there's the fence.
They did a great job. It turned out really nice. So you can see there at the end. So they tied off on both ends. Then they went down the top rail, tied it all off with separate wire. So you got to have some other wire to go around the top rail and over the top wire of your no climb or horse fence, as well as each post. You're going to want to wrap some separate wire as well around and tie it off to your wire to keep that nice and snug against the post and your top rail. So they did a fantastic job. I hope this helps you and answers a lot of questions when you are doing your own no climb and horse fence, tying that off, building a nice top rail no climb fence. I want to let you know we do sell no climb wire as well as a do-it-yourself kit to where you don't have to weld this top rail. You can put in your post. We have some hardware that you can put over your post, top rail sleeves through, and you can make a really nice top rail no climb fence yourself. Hopefully this helps you during that process. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video with us. Again, great work to these guys and the no climb fence that they did, and hopefully it'll help you on your next project. But thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next video. See ya.